Hello humans, it's just Martine, and in the next 11 days, we're trying to finish all of my July TBR. This month has been a weird reading month. The end of June was the end of Wonderthon, so I was tired of reading. I did some reading at the start of the month, but it was mainly mood reading, and recently I've really been trying to get back to it and address all of the reads that I wanted to finish by the end of July. Currently, I have 8 books left on my list, 4 of which I haven't even started yet. 2 of these reads are for specific videos. I have 1 Kindle Clear Out book and 1 TBR crime book. Other than that, they're for things like book clubs and buddy reads and no reason, to be honest. And some that, even though I can tell you about them, the reasons I'm reading them will not become clear for a while yet. We've got a range of things. But in total, I have 2,199 pages to read in the next 11 days in order to accomplish this goal. I'm confident in myself, except for the fact that I am traveling this weekend, so basically count the days this weekend out of reading, but we're going to see what we can do here in this vlog. It is a Monday, so it felt like the perfect time to start this vlog. It's the afternoon. I worked this morning. I am ready to think about reading now that it's mid-afternoon. As always, I'm going to start with 10 minutes of reading that do not contribute to these 8 books because it's a 12 TBRs book. I'm reading 10 minutes of that every day. I don't necessarily need or want to finish it by the end of the month, so I did not add it to this calculation of pages. And then after that, we're going to jump into it. The main reading plan for today is pretty simple. I want to finish my last Kindle Clear Out book of the episode so that I can start editing it. I'm not going to be able to edit it this weekend before it goes live on Sunday because I will be traveling, so I need to edit it in the next few days. But that's only 91 of my pages. We're going to read pages from other books today, too. I don't know which ones, but there will be reading. So I'll check in with you when that happens. Happy Tuesday. I'm in a good mood this morning. I woke up less stressed than I have been recently and got 2 hours of work done. Easy peasy. Was having a good time with it. And I'm gonna read a ton today. Also in a great mood because yesterday I read a ton and I'm just continuing to put myself ahead. I currently have 7 books left on this list. That's the good news. The bad news, I still have not started 4 of them. So 4 of those are entire books. The pages per day say I can do it, okay? I'm gonna believe the math. In total, yesterday I read 355 pages and made significant progress on several of my reads. I mean, I finished 1. Great, that was my Kindle Clear Out book, so now I can actually edit that video. And I made significant progress on my longest read, which is incredible. That's a TBR crime book. I stayed up late reading it and crying. It was sad. So I slept pretty well after I had tapped out my emotional bank with that. And I don't know, I'm kind of motivated to pick that book back up today because if I really focused on that book today over everything else, I could finish that book today. That would feel pretty good. On the other hand, I would be making no progress in my other books. That would not feel good. So I'm a little torn. Like, do I just spend a good amount of time reading it today and then finish it tomorrow? Or do I spend more time reading it today, finish it? These are the decisions that I have to make. I love that in my life, this is one of the hardest decisions I have to make. Do I finish the book today or tomorrow? I don't know. I guess we'll figure out. It will probably depend on vibes. If I start reading it today and I'm like, I can't put this down, then I'll just continue. But if I'm like, I can put this down, then I will. That's the plan. Just keep reading. This is giving me flashbacks a bit to Wonderthon, not nearly reading the same amount that I was during Wonderthon, but our strategy at the end of the day always came down to the same thing in Team Dover. We would talk about like, do this and this and this. So basically, read all the things. Go. Break. And that's what I feel is my strategy always in reading, but especially for this. And great news, yesterday with those 355 pages, I passed the 2,000 page mark. So I have less than 2,000 pages left to read, which is pretty exciting. So back to reading I go. Day new update! Happy Wednesday. I went into the office to work today, so was productive work-wise, and soon I'm gonna turn my focus to being productive reading-wise. Yesterday was a productive day. I made the executive decision to finish that book. So now I'm down to 6 books that I need to finish. And I started a book yesterday, so only 3 of them have not been started at all yet, which is something. I read 291 pages towards my goal yesterday, and my total pages left to read are 1,553. Also, things should be more interesting moving forward, because so far the only books I've been finishing are books for other videos, and there are some books not for other videos that will be finished in this vlog. For instance, the goal today is to finish my physical read, because tomorrow I'm traveling, so I don't want to be in the middle of a physical book when I can just bring my Kindle with me. So the summer deal will be finished today. It's so small, it's actually about the size of my Kindle. Here, let me show you. It's about the size of my Kindle, and it's actually physically lighter than my Kindle, so this has been fun and a quick read. Not high art or anything, but like a good time. And I have less than 100 pages left of it, so I'm definitely going to finish this one today. I might even finish a book club read today that I can tell you about, because that's the other one that I'm closest to finishing, but to be determined. The point is, my big TBR crime book that was holding over my head for a couple weeks now is done, and so I can move forward with my other plans, which is aces. So good. I was editing one of my videos today, and I just say the same things over and over and over again. I don't know how it doesn't annoy you. It annoys me. Maybe it annoys you. But so I'm trying to switch it up, hence why I said aces instead of like hooray. I say hooray too often, in particular, nevertheless, okay, and interesting. Those are big. Sorry to spoil the fun, now you'll never watch one of my videos the same way if you had not already noticed that. I need to start packing today, and I need to be reading. I was really hoping that would like flutter down, like, that was much better. Second take was much better. Instead it just kind of stayed there for a long time. That went all the way to the ground this time. I'm just distracting myself now. Let's go read. I have successfully finished the summer deal now that it's almost 5 p.m. It took more of the day to get to this point than I thought it would. Like, I thought I'd be done sooner than this, because I only had like 89 pages left to read, but I got caught up packing, and that's it. That's what I got caught up doing. So yeah, I just finished the summer deal, and I'm giving it 3 stars. I really wanted to love this book, and the beginning I really enjoyed, like the setup of it, I would say. In this one, we're following Bryn. She's coming back to her hometown and her 2 moms after a devastating love loss. Basically, her ex-boyfriend scammed her and stole like all her stuff, and it's a long story. Anyway, so she's moving back home, but she's kind of overwhelmed by the idea of moving back in with her mom. When she first gets back, she runs into this guy that she went to summer camp with growing up, Eli, and he agrees to rent her a room in his house. He's like, I have a couple of other roommates. Somebody moved out pretty recently, move in. And so she does, only to find out that her enemy from summer camp is one of the people that lives there, Kinsey. What she doesn't know at the time is that Kinsey is experiencing transplant failure from a kidney transplant that she got like 15 years ago, and that her chronic health conditions have influenced the way that she interacts with people a lot. And also, she doesn't know, although we know from the beginning because of Kinsey's perspective, that Kinsey and Bryn are actually half sisters. They have the same dad. That secret is brewing, and then of course Bryn and Eli feel something towards each other because they were one another's first kisses back at summer camp. There's just a lot going on here. I will say, it was super cheesy. It felt like reading a Hallmark movie, which is not a bad thing. 3 stars is not a bad rating. I had a fun time reading this. There were times where it went on and on and on zappily, and I was like, you can stop now. I understand the message you're trying to share. But the thing that really, really, really bothered me about these characters is that they, 1, kept lying to each other, and 2, kept running away. There was so much running away that was so unnecessary. Forgiveness was given way too easily for things that were honestly huge emotional triggers for these characters. So I both felt like they overreacted to everything and also then underreacted and just forgave immediately, all at the very same time. I didn't know that was possible to do both at the same time, but these characters managed it. This was fun, but nothing to write home about, and the running away really did bother me, like a lot. I hate when characters do that. There is a difference between giving yourself a little space to process emotions and running away and like burning bridges while you do so. And that was very much what these characters were doing. So that's annoying. But anyway, down to 5 books to read, and 3 of them I haven't started yet, so that's interesting. The next few days should be a very interesting part of this challenge. Tomorrow I should be able to get a good amount of reading in because it's a travel day. Well, like, it's a travel night. At night, I will be traveling. So I'll be reading during that, hopefully. I always have great intentions when I go to travel and then end up reading nothing, so we'll see. But then after that, I'll be with my friends all weekend, so I will probably read next to nothing. That's fine. I've been trying to get ahead to account for that fact, but all that to say, things are about to get crazy. But I'm glad I finished my physical book, and I'm gonna move on to something else. Hi, it's a couple hours later, and I've finished another book. I finished Savor It, which was the Shelf This book club pick for July, picked by Ashley, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I feel like some of us in the chat are coming to a general consensus that this felt like 2 different books. The first half was like, meh, and the second half was incredible. I wish I could have given it more than 3.5 stars, but for the first 2/3 of the book, I just didn't care, didn't feel chemistry between the characters, couldn't remember information, like didn't know who so many people were, and that came back to bite me later because there was somebody we met like near the start of the story apparently, and something about them was mentioned multiple times according to Ruby, but I did not pay a single bit of attention to it. Here's how I know. Something happened to a secondary character. I won't tell you who, just in case you want to read this book and don't want a spoiler, although I feel like it's not a huge spoiler, but anyway. And I was sitting here trying to figure out, 1, who that person was, and 2, how they could have fallen down a mountain and that resulted in, like, severe burns. The only thing, the only thing my brain could think, for some reason, was that maybe what I'm forgetting is that this person is a scientist that works with volcanoes and fell in. That is the only thing I could think. When I told Ruby that and she cleared up for me what I had actually missed, I was laughing so hard I was crying. Anyway, not the point of this review. Although I think it's a good demonstration of how much I didn't care about the first 2/3 of the book. The last third of the book, I cared a lot. It was so sweet. I feel like this author writes deep feeling and pain very well, and if all of this book had been about that, it could have been a 5-star, because it seriously, I was feeling things during the last third, but I felt nothing during the first 2/3, so like, there was obviously a disconnect there. I understand if the author wants to write lighthearted things, but I think the pain is what really, that's her strong suit, so maybe she should write more of that, because the yearning, the longing, the heartbrokenness, that was the best part, okay? I have never in my life thought that the 3rd act breakup in a romance book was the most skillfully written part of the book. And yet, it wasn't just that part. It was like right before that and also after it too. Again, the last third of the book, masterfully written. I don't know what happened to the first 2/3. I haven't told you what this is about. Oh my gosh. It's about this man and this woman. Pretty standard romance book, unfortunately. The man is a Michelin-starred chef. His life is falling apart though, and so he's going to spend the summer in this small town trying to make this menu for this new restaurant. And the woman is a person who lives in this small town. She's a bit eccentric. Not really though, but she just has a really big heart, and the two find one another for the summer. That's the story. But yeah, the volcano thing just really, really sent me. I don't know what to tell you. I don't live in a state that routinely has forest fires, so I don't think about them much, to be honest. That is a privilege. It is a privilege that the only place my brain was able to go was somebody falling into a volcano, is the only explanation. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, that's another book down. I should really start a book tonight because I think I'm down to one, maybe, that I'm currently reading. I need to fix that. On this day, 5 years ago, I made a crazy decision to take the vlogs that I'd been making for myself for the past few days and set them to public so anyone in the world could watch them. Today is my 5-year anniversary on YouTube, which is crazy because that's half a decade, a fifth of my life, and I've managed to capture myself at such an important time in my life. I've captured my 20s so far. I think that's insane. And there are so many reasons 5 years of YouTube is insane, not the least of which is that all of you exist and watch my silly little videos and support me. And I'm just so grateful for your time and attention and care over all the years, or even if you're brand new, hi. This 5-year anniversary, though, is very emotional for me because today something exciting is happening that would never have happened if I didn't have the courage to post those videos. Because 4 years and 11 months ago, so a month into my YouTube journey, I met a small group of people who were also either trying to start or had just started their own booktube channels. And we decided to hold each other accountable to posting, and we created a little Discord for support. We found each other through Bookopoly-thon by Becca and the Books, and I can truthfully say that I don't think a day has passed since that I haven't heard from some of those people. And today I get to meet some of them and some people that I met later who became just as important to me, who again I never would have found if I had never started posting. I think the most emotional meeting today for me is going to be Bailey. This is actually Bailey's sweater that I'm wearing right now, or it used to be hers. I don't know how long I've had this though now, several years, because I think this was one of the first packages she sent me. She was like, I'm getting rid of a sweater. Would you want it? And I was like, yes, even though the back is completely gone now. But Bailey is one of those people that I met 4 years and 11 months ago. And the other day I was reminding myself of how we became friends or started a tentative friendship. And I read some of our first messages to one another where we were just trying to figure out what books the other liked. And to know that, like, I know what books she likes now because I know so much about her and she knows so much about me. And we've been through the past 5 years together without ever meeting in person. That's crazy. And that time apart ends today, tonight. I'm so anxious that something's gonna go wrong with my flight because it's a night flight. It doesn't leave until like 8 p.m. And so I'm worried about it being postponed or delayed or whatever. I'm just worried. But that's because I'm so freaking excited to see so many people who mean so much to me. Like, I can truly say I'm going to visit the best group of friends that I have. Friend groups are rare and special, but the group of people that I get to go and be with for the next few days have truly made me who I am. So I'm excited. Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm here. This is the fit. I'm ready for a fun day with my friends. I won't read a lot. Oops.
I just want to document this as like proof that I have this, how busted my voice is from being the life of the party. I've been having a lot of fun. I've not been reading. I actually read not a singular page today. And that's not gonna change tomorrow. It's probably not gonna change. Hi me. But, we do what we can.
Well, if it isn't the 29th. I clearly had a very busy, very fun weekend, and now it's Tuesday. I'm back. I am more rested. My weekend was everything that I wanted it to be. I could not have asked for a more incredible experience, and I'm sad that it's over. And that's why we're going to focus on reading for the next 3 days. Because here's the dealio. On the way there, I read well, and then I didn't read. Point blank, period. I mean, there were a couple of days where I read literally 0 pages. I didn't even read on the flight back because it was 5 a.m. and I was sleepy. So we've put ourselves in a bit of a situation here because I was a little ahead before I left, but not ahead enough to make up for 0-page days, several of them in a row. So 3 days left, including the rest of today, and it's almost dinner time, so like barely, and I have over 1,000 pages left to read. I need to read like 377 pages a day for the next 3 days if I want to actually finish these books. I'm not sure I can make it happen. I'm going to try anyway, That's the whole point of this. I'm going to keep trying. So let's talk about where I am with the 4 books I have left. I've at least started all of them. That only became true last night when I finally started my buddy read of Head Cases. I've at least started all of them. And I will say that the progress that I made so far today is important progress because almost all of it was in Why We Sleep, which is my slowest read right now because it's nonfiction and it's pretty scientific. Lots of neuroscience happening in it because it's about why and how we sleep and what it does for our bodies and our brains, etc. Which, yes, was ironic to be reading around the time of a trip where I barely slept, but we're not here to talk about that. So anyway, I'm done with my portion of reading that for the day, and I can move on to my faster reads. I have 2 12 TBR books that I'm working through, and then Head Cases, like I told you. And all 3 of those books are relatively fast reads, at the very least, way faster than Why We Sleep. I'm hoping that there will be a ton of back matter in Why We Sleep and that it actually isn't going to take as long as I think it is, but we'll have to see. So the plan is this. I'm about to go grocery shopping. I'm afraid I'm not going to make any progress while I'm doing that, but I do need food. And then I'm probably going to make dinner, and who knows how much reading I'll get done while doing that. But after that, it is time to do all my habits for the day and smash some reading out of the park. I'm about 40% of the way through the reading that I need to do today, so that's not nothing. Today, tomorrow, the day after, that's all I have. If I don't make it, I'll live, I would really rather finish these books, so let's get to it. I am losing some hope in myself because it's my second to last day. I've barely read anything today so far, and I'm not going to have much time tonight to do so either. So I don't know what I'm expecting to happen there. And I haven't finished any of the books. So that's great. But I think maybe that I can still do it. I don't think I have anything that I have to do tomorrow. And I'm on track to finish Why We Sleep tonight. And Why We Sleep is, again, my slowest read. So if I can finish that, I would feel a lot more confident about being able to zip through the other ones. Like more confident than I would have if I had to zip through this one, for instance. Kindle suggests that I have around an hour and a half left of it. Bookly suggests I have like 4 hours left of it. Obviously, one of those is more feasible than the other. I'm choosing to believe Kindle, though, because I think there's an index at the back of this book. So that's working in my favor. I don't know why I think I can do this, but I'm choosing to still believe. It's the last day of the month, so I got some books to finish. I'm wearing my new shirt, gifted to me by Kayla over at Kayla Ray Reads. I think it's so snazzy, and it's absolutely perfect for a hot summer day spent entirely inside in the cold air conditioning. So here we are. Last night, I did manage to finish Why We Sleep, which I gave 4 stars. It was a solid nonfiction book, very scientifically based. I will say one thing that I had a huge hang up on, the number of times that the author used the word proves or proved. Science doesn't really prove things. Definitive proof is not really real. So it annoyed me that he used that word over and over and over again, where I feel like he could have stuck the landing on how sure we are based on the science without using that word. I don't let myself use that word in my writing. I don't let my students use that word in their writing. I wanted to scream at him about it. Regardless, I learned so much about sleeping. Again, ironically, while I was not getting the most or the best sleep, I feel educated, and I feel like that's the point of a nonfiction book. And although there were parts that were like a little more technical than others, overall, I felt like he presented it in a digestible way. Other people who don't study psychology might feel differently, but I felt good about it. So hooray for that. It also means that I'm ready for my live show on Sunday, except I do have one more Junie B. Jones book to read, but that's a 15-minute problem. You know, it's not the same. And then this morning I did finish another book, one of my 12 TBRs books that I had to finish. So that's great. I have 2 more books I want to finish today. 1, the buddy read. I will be able to tell you about that. 2, another 12 TBRs book. I'll just tell you if I finish that. Danielle and I are sprinting today for who knows how long. Currently we're just sprinting on Discord, but we might switch to Zoom later. So she's going to be my accountability buddy as I read through the rest of the day. Let's get back to it. I think it's fair to say that nobody is as shocked as me to hear that it is August 1st, and last night I did finish all of the books that I intended to. That is genuinely crazy. Huge shout out to one of my besties, Danielle from Danielle Reads, for sitting with me on Zoom for several hours while I finished all of those books. I think I did 4 hours, maybe more, of reading on Zoom with her. So could not have done it without her. I am going to give you a review for the book Head Cases, which is the only book that I finished yesterday that I can actually tell you about. This is kind of a classic mystery thriller insofar as like our main character is an FBI agent, and I feel like that's so common, but this is a newer book of this type. It was published in January of this year, and our main character for this is giving Spencer Reid from Criminal Minds if Spencer Reid had a child. That's what I've got for you. And he's this member of this like weird unit, the PAR. It stands for Patterns and is it recognition? Something like that. And so they're kind of this elite group of agents that focuses on like these patterns and largely focuses on cold cases. The truth of the matter is that they're kind of the misfits of the FBI. They're kind of herded into PAR when they've done something to make somebody in the FBI unhappy, but the FBI realizes that their brains are too valuable to like get rid of completely, so they're put in the PAR. This is the start of a series that will follow that unit, which I'm excited about. And the premise for this book was particularly intriguing because there's a serial killer who is killing serial killers, which is big, right? Serial killerception, as it were. And so our main character, a couple years ago, he had been on the tail of this serial killer. They thought the serial killer died in a fire, but the serial killer turns up murdered now, several years later. And so they're like, what the heck happened with that? And who is out here killing serial killers? Because it like obviously happens multiple times, right? I really enjoyed the FBI politics about it. Not everybody was just there to see justice done, and I think that made it interesting. And so a lot of like the crime itself was going after the FBI and being like, look, we're catching these people that you can't catch. And so there was something a little messy about that. And obviously we're also investigating with this group of FBI misfits who like don't fit into the FBI and are not treated the best by the FBI for whatever reason. And so we get this perspective of like, we're going to do what other people won't or can't, which I think allowed them some loopholes in this that I would normally not allow from people who are law enforcement officers in fictional worlds. Because I'm like, you can't do that as a law enforcement officer. And in this case, they had a reason that I was like, yeah, you know you can't do that. You did it anyway for like maybe a good reason. So I enjoyed that about it. I like how it's set up for an overarching series. I thought the PAR was interesting. I loved how our main character's brain worked. I love a smart main character and a main character with an interesting brain, like something that's special about it. And our main character, Gardner, definitely has that. So I'm excited to follow him in the future of the series, and I had a good time with it. I also finished those two 12 TBRs books, so I'm feeling good going into August. I say as if there's not a list of over 30 books that I want to read in August staring me down from my desk right now. Nevertheless, I'm going to end this video here. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below, did you finish your July TBR and what are you reading this month? And subscribe for more bookish and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!